There's something men do when they've found her.
Not a woman. The woman.
And if you're paying attention, you'll know. See, most people are busy listening to words. What he says, what he texts, the compliments, the promises. But I'm going to tell you something that's going to save you years of confusion. Real commitment isn't spoken, it's revealed. And when a man has decided, truly decided that you are the one, everything about him changes. His presence shifts. His habits evolve. His priorities rearrange themselves, and you don't even need to ask. But here's the part no one tells you. Most men don't even know they're capable of showing up like this until the right woman walks in. Not the easiest, not the prettiest, not the most agreeable. The one who commands something deeper in him. The one who doesn't chase, but leads with value. The one who triggers not just desire, but devotion. Now maybe you've been lied to. Maybe you've been left wondering why he treated someone else better. Why he gave her everything he withheld from you. Why he didn't protect you, choose you, or show up for you. And you started thinking, was I not enough? But that's the wrong question. This is not about being enough. It's about recognizing that men behave differently when they've found her. And today I'm going to show you the 9 things men only do when they've found the woman they will not risk losing. You don't need to ask him what he feels. You'll know by how he shows up. So stop listening, start watching. Because when a man is all in, there's no confusion. Let's begin. Most men are taught to keep their emotions buried deep. They're taught to perform, to provide, to protect, but rarely are they taught how to feel, or more importantly, how to show what they feel. So when a man chooses to commit emotionally, it doesn't happen casually. It's not impulsive. It's not something he does for every woman who crosses his path. In fact, emotional commitment from a man is one of the most powerful and sacred things you'll ever witness, because it's rare. See, a man can sleep with someone without feeling a thing. He can talk sweet, send flowers, take you out, and still keep his heart locked behind a wall. So thick, not even he realizes it's there. But when a man feels emotionally safe, emotionally drawn, and emotionally invested, something fundamental inside of him shifts. He starts to show up differently. Not just once, not just for a good moment, but over and over again. When a man has emotionally chosen you, he stops performing. He stops pretending. He lets his guard down, not in weakness, but in trust. He doesn't just make space for you in his life. He begins building his life around you. He stops seeing the relationship as an accessory and starts seeing it as a foundation. This kind of commitment is not loud. It's not flashy. But it is unmistakable. He becomes consistent, not because he's trying to impress you, but because he sees your presence as part of his everyday rhythm. He calls not because you asked him to, but because something feels off when he doesn't hear your voice. He checks in, not because he's controlling or insecure, but because he genuinely cares where you are and how you're doing. That's the difference. Emotional commitment isn't control, it's connection. A man who's emotionally committed starts prioritizing you in ways that are subtle but deeply significant. You start noticing that he remembers the little things, your favorite snack, that story about your childhood you told him once, the way you shut down when you're overwhelmed. He pays attention, not just to your body, not just to your beauty, but to your being. He wants to understand how you think, how you feel, how you operate, because he's not just trying to be in your life, he's trying to be part of your inner world. And when a man enters that space, when he chooses to enter it, it means something. It means he's letting you see him too, because emotional commitment isn't a one-way street. When a man gives you his emotions, he's handing you a map of his fears, his doubts, his past wounds, and his hopes for the future. And he's trusting that you won't weaponize them. This level of vulnerability doesn't happen when he's half interested. It doesn't happen when he sees you as a placeholder or a convenience or a fun distraction. It only happens when he recognizes that there is something irreplaceable about you. He becomes future-minded. His language shifts from I to we. Plans are no longer short-term. Suddenly, he's including you in his decisions, his dreams, his next steps. He's asking about where you want to live, how you see your future, how you would raise kids, not because he's rushing things, but because he's evaluating how you two can build together. And here's something most people overlook. Emotional commitment also shows up when things get hard, when life gets messy, inconvenient, stressful. That's when a man reveals whether or not he's really in it. A man who's not emotionally committed will disappear at the first sign of discomfort. He'll pull back, ghost you, blame you, or worse, act like you're asking for too much when all you're asking for is honesty, effort, and respect. But the man who has emotionally chosen you, he leans in, he communicates, he works through it. He may not get it right every time, but you'll see one thing clearly: he's not going anywhere. Because to him, the relationship isn't something to test or experiment with. It's something to protect, to work on, to grow through. And the most beautiful part, he doesn't just love you in private, he honors you in public. You're not a secret. You're not a maybe. You're a definitive choice. And even though he may not be loud with his words, his actions scream that you matter, that he's not just with you, he's for you. That's what it looks like when a man commits emotionally. It's not perfect. It's not always poetic, but it's real. And real doesn't lie. So if you're sitting in a relationship full of doubt, where you're constantly guessing, constantly wondering where you stand, don't settle for half commitments and empty promises. Don't beg for attention. Don't chase clarity. And don't cling to potential. A man who has chosen you with his heart will make it known, not with big speeches or hollow compliments, but with consistency, presence, vulnerability, and effort that doesn't fade with time. And when you experience that kind of love, you'll never again accept anything less. It's easy to show love when everyone's watching. When the lights are on, when the cameras are rolling, when the world is paying attention, anyone can play the part. Public affection is easy. Sweet words in front of friends are easy. Making grand gestures when there's applause waiting, that's easy too. But the real question is, what does he do when no one's watching? What choices does he make when he knows no one will find out? Because that's where you'll find the truth. A man who has truly chosen you doesn't just choose you in the spotlight. He chooses you in the silence, in the private, quiet moments where he could get away with anything and still picks you. He shuts the door on temptation, not because he's afraid of getting caught, but because he doesn't want to betray something sacred. He deletes that message, ignores that glance, walks away from the kind of harmless flirting that most people excuse, because to him it isn't harmless. It's not about guilt. It's about integrity. And integrity is what separates a man who's performing from a man who's present. See, when a man is truly all in, he doesn't need external reminders to act right. His loyalty isn't performative, it's internalized. He doesn't need you around to behave like he respects you. He just does. Because to him, being with you isn't a role to play, it's a commitment to uphold. This is the man who defends your name in rooms you're not in, who shuts down disrespect, even when it's subtle, even when it's from people he cares about, who protects your reputation, your dignity, your peace, not just when it's convenient, but when it's uncomfortable. And that right there, what he does when it's inconvenient, that's where his real choices live. Fine. Because let's be honest, anyone can be faithful when there's nothing tempting them. Anyone can be respectful when it benefits them. Anyone can play loyal when they're scared of losing you. But real love, real choice, real devotion, it shows up when no one's keeping score, when there's no consequence, except disappointing himself. A man who chooses you in the dark understands that his actions reflect his values, not just his desires. So when that ex reaches out, he doesn't reply. When his friends joke about what they'd do if they weren't tied down, he doesn't laugh. When someone tries to test boundaries, he holds the line. Not for fear, not for image, but for honor. Because in his mind, you are the standard. Not an option, not a placeholder. You are the woman he protects even when you're not there to witness it. He respects the relationship when it's not exciting, when no one is congratulating him, when it's late at night and he's tired and no one would ever know what he chose. And that's the kind of man you need to look for, the one whose actions remain consistent when the spotlight fades. He doesn't breadcrumb other women for ego. He doesn't keep doors open just in case. He doesn't entertain attention to feel validated. Because when a man sees you as the one, he closes the door to everything that threatens that bond. And he does it with intention. It's not that other women stop existing, it's that they stop mattering. Let that sink in. When a man chooses you in the dark, it means you're not just loved, you're respected. You're not just someone he shows off, you're someone he protects with discipline. Because love without discipline isn't love. It's just excitement. And excitement fades. But discipline stays. Discipline says, even if no one finds out, I still won't betray her trust. Discipline says, I honor this relationship, even when it would be easy not to. Discipline says, I don't just act loyal, I am loyal. That's the man who's chosen you. That's the man who doesn't leave doors open for validation. That's the man who walks like you're watching, not out of fear, but out of reverence for what he has. Because what you have together isn't a game, it's not a phase. It's not casual. He knows he found something most people spend their whole lives chasing and never find. And he's not about to gamble it, not for a moment of attention, not for cheap thrill, not for empty ego boosts. When a man has truly chosen you, he chooses you when the world isn't looking. He chooses you in quiet loyalty and silent discipline, in the tiniest, invisible choices he makes every day. You may never see all of it. You may never hear about it, but you'll feel it in how secure you feel, in how safe you feel, in how little you need to question anything. That's when you'll know. He's not just in love with you. He's all in, even in the dark. Especially in the dark, there's a difference between a man who desires you and a man who values you. Desire is common. It's everywhere. A man can want your body without even knowing your middle name. He can take you out, compliment your looks, touch your skin, and still never care about who you're becoming. But when a man has truly chosen you, when he sees you as the one, it's no longer just about what you offer in the present. It becomes about what you're growing into, who you're evolving into, and how he can stand beside you as you rise. A man who's all in doesn't just look at your body, he looks at your potential. He doesn't just want to be with you when you're convenient, sexy, soft, available. He wants to see you become powerful, fulfilled, purposeful. Even if it means you outgrow old versions of yourself, and even if that growth challenges him, this man doesn't get insecure when you aim higher. He doesn't try to shrink your goals so that you stay manageable. He doesn't guilt trip you for being ambitious, curious, or driven. He encourages it. He pushes it. He celebrates it. When you tell him you want to go back to school, he starts helping you look at programs. When you talk about starting a business, he doesn't laugh. He listens. When you want to leave a job that's draining you, he reminds you of your worth. Because when a man is invested in your growth, he sees your success as a win for both of you. Not a threat, not a competition, not a disruption to his ego.
He understands something most men don't.
A woman who is thriving in her purpose becomes even more powerful in her love. She doesn't take away from the relationship. She adds to it. And he wants all of you, not just the parts that serve him. This kind of man asks questions about your vision. He wants to know what excites you, what scares you, what your 5-year plan looks like. He listens when you speak about your passions, not because he's waiting to reply, but because he's genuinely interested. And when you doubt yourself, as you will because you're human, he becomes your mirror, reflecting back all the strength you forgot you had. He won't let you settle, not for small dreams, not for a version of life that keeps you comfortable but stuck. He'll challenge you not to break you, but to build you, because growth requires pressure. And love, real love, sometimes means holding up a standard you didn't even know you could reach. This man doesn't let you play small. He doesn't indulge your excuses. He reminds you who you are, especially on the days you forget. But here's what makes it real. He invests without keeping score. He supports you without expecting to control you. He's not helping you just so he can say, you owe me. He's not attaching strings to his encouragement, because his support isn't transactional. It's relational. It's rooted in love, not leverage. He'll make sacrifices for your growth. Maybe time, maybe energy, maybe comfort. But he does it gladly because your expansion is his priority. And let's talk about something most people miss. This man isn't just there for the fun parts of growth. He's there when you're exhausted, frustrated, overwhelmed. He holds space for your breakdowns. He doesn't shame you for having moments of fear or confusion. He knows growth is messy, and he stays. Not to rescue you, but to remind you that you're capable, that this season is shaping you, that your voice matters, that your dreams are not too much. A man who's in it for real will remind you what you bring to the world when the world tries to silence you. He becomes your anchor, not to hold you down, but to hold you steady. And here's the most important part. He grows too, because a relationship where only one person evolves will always break. He doesn't just watch you change, he joins you. He's open to feedback. He does his own inner work. He stretches, adapts, evolves because he knows love can't stay stagnant. So while other men may chase bodies, thrills, and shallow validation, this man, he's building with you. He's investing in you. He's in love with your future, not just your figure. He sees beyond the physical. He sees your fire, and he won't rest until you see it too. Because when a man has truly chosen you, he doesn't just want to keep you. He wants to see you rise. Most men aren't raised to be emotionally open. They're taught to be tough, to push through, to keep their feelings locked up and buried deep. So when a man lets his guard down, it's not random, it's a choice. And that choice only happens when he feels something powerful. Safety. Not just physical safety, emotional safety, psychological safety. The kind of safety where he can let go of the armor he's worn his whole life. Because the truth is, vulnerability doesn't come naturally for most men. It comes at a cost. And if he's been hurt before, laughed at for showing feelings, or betrayed after opening up, he's learned to protect himself with silence, distance, or control. So when he lets you in, it's not because he's weak, it's because he sees something different in you. When a man sees you as the one, he starts testing the waters, not by playing games, but by slowly, carefully exposing parts of himself. He doesn't show to just anyone. You'll notice it in the way he talks about his past, the people who hurt him, the mistakes he made, the dreams he buried. You'll see it in the way he lets you into his inner world, not just the highlight reel, but the raw, messy, unfiltered truth. And here's the thing. He's not looking for you to fix it. He's not asking for rescue. He's looking to be seen, to be accepted, to be understood. And if you want to know whether a man truly trusts you, don't just watch how he treats you in good times. Watch what he shows you when he's struggling, because that's when real trust shows up. Not when everything's easy, but when he's tired, when he's unsure, when life has him on his knees. If he can come to you with that, if he can open up without feeling like he's losing his masculinity, if he can cry in front of you, admit fears, talk about the future with trembling honesty, that's not weakness. That's courage. Most men never get there. They stay surface level. They distract themselves with work, sex, money, status, anything to avoid confronting the deeper emotions inside. But the man who's found the one to feel safe enough to stop performing, he doesn't need to be the hero all the time. He doesn't need to have every answer. He doesn't need to pretend that nothing ever gets to him. Because in you, he's found something most men never experience. A space where he can simply be not judged, not corrected, not made to feel small for feeling deeply, just heard, accepted. And something incredible happens when a man feels that level of safety. He opens, he softens, he starts letting love all the way in. Not just the surface love, the kind where he shows up and says all the right things, but the deep love, the kind where he risks being known fully. Because true intimacy isn't just physical, it's emotional exposure. And that only happens when safety is present. You'll see it in how he tells you about the things he's never said out loud, how he lets you see him when he's not at his best, how he trusts that your opinion of him will change when he's not strong. Because real love doesn't punish vulnerability. Real love creates space for it. And he knows you're not going to weaponize his truth against him. He knows you won't use his low points to gain control. He knows you won't shame him for being human. So he begins to share more, not just facts, but feelings. Not just stories, but reflections. Not just plans, but fears. And this isn't something you force. It's something that grows moment by moment, brick by brick, as trust deepens. You might notice that he starts asking deeper questions in return. Not just how was your day, but how do you really feel about this? He becomes more emotionally attuned, more present, more expressive, not because you demanded it, but because you made it safe. And once that door opens, everything changes. The relationship deepens. The connection strengthens. The communication becomes real. No more guessing. No more wondering. No more masks. Just honesty. Just presence. Just love, unguarded, unedited, and real. That's the beauty of vulnerability. Not everyone gets to see it, but when you do, when a man gives you that part of himself, it's a gift. One of the rarest forms of trust a man can offer. So don't take it lightly. Don't dismiss it. Don't overlook the courage it takes. Because when a man is willing to be vulnerable with you, it means he's found a place where he can finally exhale, where he doesn't have to be the warrior 24/7, where he's allowed to be human. And that kind of space, that kind of relationship, that's not built overnight. It's built through care, patience, presence, and safety. So if he's opening up, not just his schedule, not just his body, but his soul, understand this. You're not just someone he loves. You're someone he trusts. And for a man who's carried the weight of the world in silence, that means everything. Every relationship will face conflict. That's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of realness. Two people, two minds, two histories, two different emotional blueprints. Of course, there will be friction. But what separates someone who's just involved from someone who's invested is how they show up when things get hard. Do they run?
Do they shut down?
Do they punish you with silence, blame, or withdrawal? Or do they fight, not against you, but for you? See, a man who's truly chosen you doesn't see conflict as a reason to walk away. He sees it as a reason to dig deeper, because he's not just in this for the good times. He's not just present when it's fun and light and convenient. He stays when the conversations get hard. He leans in when there's tension. He fights to understand, not just to win. There's a big difference between fighting in the relationship and fighting for it. Anyone can argue. Anyone can point fingers and say, you're the problem. But a man who's all in will say, let's figure this out together. Not you versus me, but is versus the issue. He's not trying to be right. He's trying to be connected. That's the shift. Because when someone's heart is truly in it, the goal isn't victory, it's healing. It's resolution. It's repair. He doesn't weaponize your vulnerabilities. He doesn't turn past mistakes into ammunition. He doesn't mock your emotions or minimize your pain. He listens. He reflects. He takes accountability when he's wrong, and he invites you to do the same, not out of obligation, but out of respect. He sees every disagreement as a doorway, a chance to learn you better, to grow together, to reinforce the foundation, not crack it. And let's be honest, that kind of emotional maturity is rare, because it's easier to ghost than to grow. It's easier to shut down than to show up. It's easier to walk away than to work through. But a man who's truly chosen you knows that love without effort is just a fantasy. He knows that real intimacy is born through the hard stuff. The awkward talks, the honest feedback, the moments that test your patience, your ego, your pride. He doesn't run from those moments. He respects them because he knows that in those exact moments, the relationship is being forged, like steel and fire. He fights for the relationship by being emotionally available. He doesn't disappear when you're upset. He doesn't act like your needs are too much. He doesn't say you're too emotional or you're making a big deal out of nothing. Instead, he says, talk to me. Help me understand. I want us to get through this. Those words, they matter, not just because they sound good, but because they show intention. He's not looking for the exit. He's not trying to prove he's above it. He's willing to get in the emotional trenches with you and figure it out because the relationship is worth it to him. You'll notice he doesn't just show up when you're glowing and smiling. He shows up when you're crying, confused, anxious, or guarded. He doesn't love a version of you. He loves all of you. Even the parts you don't like. Even the parts you're still healing. Even the parts you've been told are too much. Because to him, that's what commitment looks like, choosing someone fully, not conditionally. And it's not just about staying during hard times. It's about engaging during them, doing the work. Disha, having the hard conversations, being honest about what he needs while making space for what you need. This kind of man doesn't need drama to feel alive. He's not addicted to chaos. He's not creating problems just to test you. He simply understands that a strong relationship isn't one where nothing goes wrong. It's one where both people stay present, even when it does. And when he's really fighting for the relationship, you feel something rare, security. You stop feeling like love is something you have to earn over and over again. You stop wondering if one disagreement will be the end. You stop walking on eggshells. Because even in the middle of an argument, you feel the presence of love. Not resentment, not distance, not punishment. Just love showing up as effort, patience, and the willingness to grow together. He doesn't fight to protect his ego. He fights to protect the connection. And that's what makes all the difference. Because when a man truly chooses you, he's not looking for the easiest path. He's choosing the most meaningful one. Even if it means uncomfortable conversations, even if it means confronting his own flaws, even if it means stretching himself emotionally. He fights for the relationship because he knows love isn't just about what you feel. It's about what you're willing to fight for. And he's already decided you're worth it. If there's one thing you take from all of this, let it be this. A man's love is not proven by how loud he says it. It's proven by how consistently he lives it. When a man has truly chosen you, it's not confusing. It's not hot one day, cold the next. It's not love only when you're easy to love. It's effort. It's presence. It's action that doesn't flinch when tested. You won't have to chase clarity. You won't have to beg to be seen. You won't have to shrink yourself just to be kept. Because he won't just want you. He'll respect you. He'll protect what you're building. And he'll do what most won't. He'll show up in the dark. He'll support your growth. He'll open his soul and let you see the parts of him no one else gets to. And when the storms come, because they always do, he'll fight with you, not against you. He'll fight for the bond, not just for his pride. So hear this, and hear it loud. If you have to constantly guess, beg, or suffer to feel chosen, you're not the one to him. And that's okay, because the man who does see you as the one, he won't play with you. He won't waste your time. He'll know, and he'll act like it. So stop listening to words. Start watching behavior. Because when a man loves with his whole heart, you won't wonder. You'll know